Hello everyone and welcome back to another amazing video. In this video, we are going to learn the complete payroll process in TelePrime. Now TelePrime version is a newly launched version of Tele, and since it is launched, it has gained so much of popularity. So in this video, we are going to learn how you can set the basic configuration of payroll, how you can manage units and attendance types, dealing with payheads creation, groups and individual salary details, finalizing the payroll process, and finally we will see how you can generate the payroll process. So this section will give you complete knowledge of TelePrime payroll. So let's start the video, but before starting this video, if you're new to the channel, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so that you can get notified of all the future videos. And if you want to join this full course on Udemy or Skillshare, the link to both of these platforms are in the description. So with this said, let's get started. Okay, now we will start our new section, and that is dealing with payroll in TelePrime, example 1. Here we have two things, the basic company information and the company policies, in which it is written that you need to create a company. There is a company of Xero Private Limited, and the period details, opening balances are mentioned, and what is involved in the payroll process and how, what are the allowances and deductions of the company, the basic details like basic salary is in rupees and per month wise, overtime allowances on per hour basis, dearness allowances of 20% of the earned basic salary, food allowances are per month, medical allowances are per month, and 12% of the earned basic salary is provident fund. Employer's contribution is this amount, house loan, traveling allowance, and all of these transactions are in rupees. Now provident fund details are mentioned here, including the company details, company code, and security code. And here are the employees attendance details for the July month. So these are 3 employees that we are taking for example, and there are some other information which we will consider while creating the payroll. The second requirement is employees personal information and policies. So when we will create each individual employees, like this Sifan, it is all the details are related to this particular employee. We will need this information in order to process the whole payroll. Similarly, the second employee and the third employee, we have all the information. So we will follow the steps in this sequence. First, we will create the employee masters, employee groups, and employees it involves. Then create payroll masters, payheads, salary details, and process payroll. I'll not explain you all of these details. You will see practically how we can do it. In that way, you don't need the theoretical guide. You can simply learn it by watching it. So let's start and create the company. Let's open Tele. I need to shut this company. Create a new company. The company name is Surgico Private Limited. I'll just copy and paste it here. Enter. The opening balances is from 1st of July 2020. So let's mention July 2020 and control A to save. Now when it asks you for further configuration, you can see that over here that you need to enable payroll set to no. I'll change it to yes and yes for both of them. Now here it opens the detail of payroll statutory details. I can mention all the details here which we have in right here. Let's copy the company code and paste it right here. Company group code, I'll just copy, paste. Security code is this. Now for rest of the information, we don't know much details about it, so we will ignore this. Deductor type will be others, not government, and press Ctrl A. And then similarly press Ctrl A again to save. Now the company is created. Now let's start entering the employee details. And first of all, if I go from masters into the create mode, I can see that by enabling the payroll area, I can see a new complete area here that is named as payroll masters, which presents all the details in the same sequence what you require to do. First, you will create employee group, then you need to create employees, then units, then attendance, and according to attendance, the payheads, and finally the payroll will be processed. So the first step, let's move in this sequence, employee group. Now, employee group is basically the category of the employee. For example, uh, it is stated here that factory workers, some of them are factory workers, some of them might be office workers. So these two are factory workers and one is office workers. So this is basically the group in which they fall. So let's create this group, copy and paste. You can remove the numbering if you want, press delete, delete, delete button, and it will be under primary, and control A. I'll not define the sender details here, just press A, control A. Next we have the office workers. So instead of removing, after all, we will just paste it directly, office workers, and control A. So the first step is done. Now the second step is creating the employee. So let's create the employee. The first employee is Sifan. So just copy the name, and since it comes under the factory workers, I'll choose one. Date of joining, it will be mentioned out here, 1st of April 2020. April 2020. Define salary, we will keep it as no here as well. Now here is some general information that we will need to be mentioned. So the general information is mentioned out here. So I'll just quickly copy and paste this just to show you. So I'll fast forward this process. So for the bank details, we have the bank details. So press yes. Bank account number is this. Now ignore IFS code. The bank name, I'll create a new bank. The bank name will be HSBC Bank. Branches, main branch. So here we will click on end of list, and rest all of the details we only know these details. So let's press Control A. Let's move to the next employee now, and that is Nihar. Similar thing will be done here. Entered. Now the final employee is this third one, Fiham. Paste it here, and if you want to change from primary to any other workers employee group, just you have to press enter through it and then go backspace, then it will show you the list. Otherwise you can just start typing and it will show you the recommendation. So office workers, this is under the office worker category. So the date of joining is same, April 2020, 1st of April 2020, and this is the employee number, and so on. And save. Okay, now since all of these details are entered, let's say if you want to edit some of the details for a particular employee, you will go from masters to alter, and if you want to edit the employee details, just select employee and choose the employee. You will come under the alteration mode where you can edit, or if you got another information, you can always go back in the alter mode and edit all of these details. So that's how the first step is completed. If I go in the bottom, the first step was creating the employee masters, in which the employee group creation is involved and employees creation is involved. So in the next step, we will see further details about the payroll. Now, the next part of the payroll process is creating the payheads. Creating the payheads means if we check on our assignment, we have different payheads like basic salary, overtime allowance, dearness allowance, food allowance. So we need to configure all of these details, keeping in mind of the attendance and the working days. So how will we process all of these? Let's see in TelePrime. So I'll click from Gateway of Tele, I'll click on create, and from create, I'll click on the pay heads. So let's create the first one, and that is of the basic salary. So select write basic salary here, the first pay head. Now we need to mention all of these details. Pay head type will be, we will select earning for employees. Income type will be fixed, and it is an indirect expense for the company. Effect net salary, yes. Display name on the payslip is basic salary. Use for calculation of gratuity, we don't have the gratuity details and tax details right now, so no for both of these. Calculation types will be on attendance, means whatever attendance we will mention in tele, it will automatically calculate salary according to that. And attendance leave with pay will be considered as present, which we have just created as an attendance type. Calculation period, since we will pay the employees monthly, and it is mentioned here as well that salary will be applicable per month basis. So we will define as months, but user defined months of, let's say for this period, for July we have 27 working days, so we will consider only July scenario, so 27 days for now. Rounding, we will keep it to normal rounding, and limit will be 1. Now press Ctrl A and let's move to the next one. Similarly, we have the overtime allowance. So let's create this one, overtime allowance. Just copy and paste this. Now the payhead type will be same, earnings for employees. Income type will be fixed. It will come under indirect expenses. Effect net salary, yes. Overtime allowance will be the name on the payslip. Gratuity and tax details, no. And calculation type, we will change this time to production. And since for production type we have created the overtime item, and it was an hour of 60 minutes unit, so we will select that one. Rounding will be normal rounding and limit will be 1. So press Ctrl A. The next one we have is dearness allowance. Now what is dearness allowance? Dearness allowance is paid to employees to mitigate the effect of inflation, and it is issued by the government, and usually it is paid to the government employees, and specifically in Bangladesh, Pakistan and India, just to reduce the effect of the inflation on the employees. So dearness allowance, let's mention here. Now here we will mention all the details as it is. Earnings for employees, it will be considered as earnings for employees. Income types will be fixed. It will come under indirect expenses. Will it affect the net salary? Yes. Dearness allowance will be the name on the payslip. Gratuity and tax details, no. And the calculation types, because we have noted that it is 20% of the earned basic salary, so this time calculation type will be as of computed value. So enter that. Rounding will be normal rounding and limit will be 1. Now for the compute, we will choose on specified formula, because we know that the formula is basic salary into 20%. So select basic salary here in the payhead and end of the list. Now the effective date is, let's mention an earlier period from where the company has started, April 2020. Just ignore these fields. We will directly go on the slab type, and the type of slab will be percentage, and it will be on 20%. Now let's save this one, press Ctrl A. The next one we have is food allowance. So just copy and paste the food allowance here. Now here the details we will quickly mention that payhead type will be earnings for employees, income type will be fixed, it will come under indirect expenses, effect the net salary, yes, food allowance will be the name that is displayed on the payslip, gratuity no, income tax no, and this time it will be created or calculated on flat rate basis, and the allowance will be paid on monthly basis. Normal rounding will be applicable and limit is 1. So why this food allowance is mentioned rupees per month? So it will be a fixed charge, flat rate. So press Ctrl A. Now the next one we have is medical allowance. So let's copy medical allowance and paste it right here. It will come under earnings for employees. It will be fixed, indirect expenses, affect the net salary, medical allowance will be the name, and this one will also be on flat rate and we are paying monthly. Rounding will be normal rounding and 1. Press Ctrl A. So the next one we have is employees provident fund. So we will copy and paste it first, and instead of this we will mention as EPF, employees provident fund. It is called dash at the rate of 12%. At the rate of 12% you can mention here. Now it will be not earnings for employees, it will be employees statutory deductions. So let's choose this, and the statutory pay type will be PF account 1. So just keep the note of all of these. Now it's getting a little bit complex, so you might forget the steps, so just keep the note of all of these. Take a pen and paper and just write the details I'm telling you, or you can take the screenshot and just print it for your reference. So it will come under the current liability. Affect the net salary, obviously yes. Name showed on the display payslip. So employees EPF at the rate of 12%, that's fine. As of computed value is already selected by default, and calculation type is months. Normal rounding 1. Now here it is mentioned in the assignment that 12% for the earned basic salary will be applicable. So likewise we have selected before on specified formula. So it will be applied on the basic salary. So just choose the basic salary and click end of the list. Effective from, it will be effective from April, let's say 2020, and the percentage will be 12%, and then save this one, Control A. Now I recommend you to complete all of these for now, and then we will move to some more important parts of this, that is employer's contribution, house loan and traveling allowance. But I want you to grasp the knowledge of what we have covered in the pay heads until now. Okay, now let's move to the next transaction, and that is of employer's contribution. We have to create the payhead of employer's contribution. It is 8.33% or rupees 651. So if you want to see the more details about it, you can check in the details section where it says for employer's contribution, if the earned basic salary is less than 6,500, the EPS should calculate at 8.33% or earned basic salary. And if the earned basic salary equals or greater than 6,500, the EPS will be rupees 541 or salary EBS. Rest amount will be posted to employer's contribution as an EPF. It means that we have already taken the EPF from the employees at the rate of 12%, which we have just entered. Now we have to give this amount to a different account, that is EBS. That is, if it is lesser than 6,500, it should be 8.33%, or if it is more than 6,500, then it will be 541. The rest of the money will be deposited to the Provident Fund account, PF account. So we basically have to create the two accounts. So let's go with the first one, and that is payhead creation. We are already in payhead creation. Let's create employer's contribution. So here is my employer's contribution. Copy and paste it here. And let's also mention that this is for EPS. So you can hold the right arrow key to move towards the end, to move the cursor towards the end. Now write EPS, and let's also mention at the rate of 8.33% so that we can remember. Now this will come under employers statutory contribution. Employers statutory contributions. Now this is EPS account, so I'll choose this one, EPS account, account number 10. Let's choose this. Now it will come under what expenses? It will come under indirect expenses, because this is an expense for the organization. It will not affect the net salary, so I'll keep it as it is. Rounding will be normal rounding. We always mention this. Now the calculation will be based on specified formula. So I'll choose the specified formula. Now this will be calculated on the calculation of the basic salary. So choose basic salary, end of the list. Now it is mentioned in the criteria, as we have mentioned before, that if the earnings is less than 6,500, then it will be 8.33. If it is more than 6,500, then it will be 541. So how will we enter these of the criterias in our tally? Let's see. First of all, I'll mention the date, that is April 2020. Now, if it is up to 6,500, in the up to column, we will write 6,500, then the percentage will be 8.33%. And under the next row, it automatically mentioned in the amount greater than. So we will directly go to value and write 541. So basically it says amount up to means less than 6,500. Less than or up to 6,500. It says 8.33. If it is greater than 6,500, which is this, if amount is greater than 6,500, then it will be not charged on the percentage basis. It will be charged on the value basis. And that is, the value is 541, right? Now let's save this one. Control A or Control S. Control A, let's press. 541. Control A. Now for this criteria, which is mentioned in the end, that the rest of the money will be posted to employees' contribution for the EPF. For that, we have to create a new payhead. Now I have to create employers contribution EPF. Now it will be the balance of what we have taken from the employee and what the employers has contributed. So that will be deposited in this contribution. So 12 minus 8.33 will be 3.67. So the payhead type I will choose is employers statutory contributions, and the further details will be PF account, account number 1. It will come under the indirect expenses and normal rounding 1, and the formula computation will be on the specified formula. So basically it will be based on the formula of both of these combination, because we have to deposit this remainder amount, 12% minus 8.33%. So let's choose the employees EPF first, and then we will choose in the next line, we will choose the subtract payhead, and we will subtract this amount and click on end of the list. Let's change the date now. So the rest of the amount will be deposited 100% to the employer's contribution. That is automatically 3.67%. The specified formula mentioned here as well, that employees EPF is 12% minus the employer's contribution of 8.33%. Now press Ctrl A to save. Now the next one, we have the house loan payhead, and it is user defined, and the details are mentioned here, that house loan, for house loan, Sifan has taken 8,500, Nithar has taken 10,500, Fiham has taken this amount, and it should be deducted in the July month salary. So let's create the payhead for them. I'll mention house loan here, and it will be loans and advances. This is the asset for the organization because we have to recover that. It is kind of a receivable, and receivable is in current asset. Affect the net salary, it automatically says yes. So we will continue with this yes. Now, as the requirement says that will be user defined, so the calculation type I'll mention here is user defined value. User defined value means that while creating the pay head or salary, we will manually mention the loans and advances. So Control A, this is done. The next one we have is the traveling allowance. Let's copy and paste this. It will come under the earnings for the employees. It is fixed. And it will come under the indirect expenses. Affect the net salary? Yes. Now let's directly move to the calculation type, and that is as a percentage. You can see here that it says 25% of the earned basic salary plus DA. So I'll choose the as computed value. Normal rounding will be 1. Now again, in the calculation or computation type, I'll choose on the specified formula. Now it clearly says that the traveling allowance will be 25% of the basic salary plus DA. Now we will select the basic salary and add pay head of dearness allowance and end of the list. We will enter it in this way. Let's change the date to April 20 and the percentage will be 25%. So this details will be entered in this way. Let's save this one. Now the final one for the finalization of the pay heads is salary payable that we have to also create. Salary payable. So this is not applicable in the pay head because this is just for the calculation purpose of finalization of payroll. This is not any kind of the pay head. So we will choose not applicable here. It will come under the current liabilities. And that's it. Let's press Control A. Now, if I have made a mistake in any of the pay head while creating, what I can do is I can always go to Gateway of Tally, alter. Now the list of masters that we have all created, employee group, employees, units, pay heads, define salary, anything you can edit directly from here. For example, we have just entered pay heads. So all of these are mentioned here. If we further press enter into any of them, then we will move to the initial configuration screen. So that way you can easily edit any details you want. So that's it. That's how we deal with or create pay heads in Tally. Now the fourth step in the payroll process is creating the salary details and defining the salary. So there are two types that we need to create. One is group salary pay structure and other one is individual salary pay structure. So we have already created the employee groups and employee details. Now since I only have to enter the salary details, so I will alter the existing records, go in the employee groups and choose the factory workers. And here in the last option, it says define salary details. I'll change it to yes, enter. And this is effective from 1st of April 2020. Now first choose the basic salary. I'm not entering any rates here. I'll just enter the pay heads. So let's press enter again and move to the next row. Now I'll choose dearness allowance. Now the medical allowance. Then let's choose overtime allowance. Now let's press enter food allowance. Now let's enter traveling allowance, house loan, and these contributions. And then end of the list and press Control A and enter to accept. Second one is office workers. So again, define salary details, yes. So it is also effective from April 2020. Now you don't need to start afresh. Once you have created one, you can copy that employee group details in this if the details are same. So copy from employee group. Which group? Factory workers. Just choose it and it will automatically copy all the pay heads here. Now let's press Control A to save and enter to accept. Now this is what we have defined as a group. Now we will enter the details of under the alter mode, the each individual employee details. So let's see what details are they. So according to the assignment, these are the employee details. So let's move to the first one, and that is Sifan. So if I want to enter the details for it, I'll choose the employee first, and then I need to write these details, right? So there are fields here which can be enabled by changing it to yes. Okay, now that we have entered the details for the employee group, the next step is to define the details for the employees. I'll click on alter and click on employee, and the first employee was Sifan. So come here under the define salary details, change it to yes, and from here let's write April 2020 and copy from parent value, so it will automatically pick up all the details that we have created in the group. Now let's define the details for the employees. Let's move up, and these are the calculation details for the employee Sifan. So let's see how we can enter this. Basic salary is 35,000 per month, so let's define 35,000. Okay, dearness allowance is 20% of the basic salary. Medical allowance is 3,000 per month. 3,000 per month. Now overtime allowance on the production, that means on a daily basis, 190 per hour. So under the per field it says hours. Enter. Food allowance, we have to mention that as a flat rate as well, and that is mentioned here, 4,500 per month. So 4,500. Now traveling allowance is computed on the base of percentage. House loan is also percentage. Employees contribution is also percentage. This one is also percentage. Now let's press Ctrl A to save and Ctrl A to save again. So this one is done for the first employee. Let's move to the second employee and mention the details. So Nihar, let's move to the details of Nihar. The basic salary is 40,000. So define salary, yes. April 2020. Copy from parent value. Basic salary is 40,000. Dearness allowance will be calculated on the basis of percentages. So medical allowance it says 3,000 per month. So 3,000, let's mention here, 3,000 per month. Overtime allowance is 150 rupees per hour. So 150 per hour. Food allowance is 4,500 per month. Traveling allowance will automatically be calculated. House loan, employer's contribution, all based on percentages. So end of list and press Ctrl A and Ctrl A again to save. Now the next one is Fiham. So define salary details, yes. Effective from April 2020. Copy from parent value. Basic salary, let's mention the details now. Basic salary 38,000. Dearness allowance automatically calculated. Medical allowance is 3,000 per month. Overtime allowance, it says 160 rupees per hour here, 160. Food allowance is 4,500 per month, 4,500 per month. Traveling allowance is automatically calculated. House loan based on percentages, and end of list and press Ctrl A and Ctrl A to save. So all of the employee groups and employee salary details are now entered. Now that we have defined all of these, the final step is processing of the payroll, and the first step in it is attendance process. So from the gateway of Tele, I'll click on the vouchers. From the vouchers, let's click on other vouchers from here. and click on attendance. Choose it. Now we are going to pay for the July month salary. So I'll change the date, press F2 directly and write 31st July. Now we have to enter the details for each employee, only that way it will be calculated. So this is also mentioned in the assignment. Let's scroll up and here are employees attendance details for the July month. Now we will click on the autofill first, attendance autofill. Voucher date will be 31st July 2020. Now let's choose all items from here. Now first item in the attendance will be present. Default value will be 0 and it will be sorted by employee name. So just choose it. So this way it will open up this area. Now it is perfect screen to enter the attendance. Now let's enter first of all for Feham. Feham days is 25 days. So let's mention 25 days here. The Nihar has 24 days. So let's enter 24. Sifan has 26 days. So 26 days. Now let's press Ctrl A to save. Now the second one is the overtime. So let's click on autofill again. Attendance autofill. It will be all items. Now it will be overtime. Press enter, enter. And now it is in hours. And here we have mentioned it in hours. So first one is Feham, 32 hours. So let's mention 32 here. Now for the next one, we have Nihar, but it has 420 minutes. So by default, we can see the unit of hours here. So what we can do is write 420 and change the unit to minutes because we have created minutes unit as well. It will automatically pick up and calculate how many minutes in hours are there. By mentioning the minutes, it automatically converted into 7 hours. Now the next one is Sifan and he's working for 23 hours. So enter and press Ctrl A to save. Now according to the assignment we are done with the attendance process. Now let's move to the next step, and that is payroll process. Now let's click on other vouchers and now click on payroll. Now first of all, click on autofill, payroll autofill, choose this one. And the process is salary. So we are paying for July, right? So it automatically picks up the date right now. 1st July to 31st July is already set. Otherwise you can set it here. Now enter employee's name and the payroll bank or cash ledger. Now first of all, when we create the salary, it is accrued. So it might be paid in the next month, but it is part of that particular month expense. So that is salary payable. I'll choose salary payable here then. And now you can see all the people's salary is automatically created because we have already mentioned the attendance. So it calculated the total salary according to the attendance and then all the further allowances as well. Only one area is not showing up, and that is house loan. Why house loan is not showing? Let's see. Because house loan was a manual figure for all the employees. So remember, house loan is not coming here. So we will do another payroll entry for that. But for now, all the other details are perfectly all right. So press Ctrl A. Now we will create for the house loan. So click on autofill, payroll autofill. And now since the house loan is user defined, so I'll choose user defined here and all the details will be same. And under the salary payable, it will be transferred. So house loan, you can see that all the fields are created for each employee. So it will be very convenient to enter it now. So for the first employee, that is Sifan, 8,500 is house loan. Or let's check Feham, 12,500. Nihar, 10,500. Sifan, 8,500. And press Ctrl A to save now. All of these details of the house loan are also mentioned here under the employee attendance. Now the third step is payment process. For it, I'll go to the top and I need to enter some of these details. So let's enter the company opening balance. From the gateway, I'll click on order and choose, and under the cash, we just have to write the balance here, and that is 350,000. So 350,000 is the balance, and press Ctrl A. The next one is HSBC Bank. So I can see that there is no HSBC Bank here. So I need to create one. HSBC Bank. It should come under the bank accounts. So let's choose bank accounts. Then skip all of these details and directly come under the field of opening balances, and that is 625,000. So either you can copy or mention manually here. Debit. Press Ctrl A. And the final one is capital account. So I can see that there is no capital account either. So click on create and click on capital. Under the capital account, let's go directly click here. Under the opening balance, I will mention this amount. Let's copy and paste and press Ctrl A. Now that we have defined these ones, the next step is the payment process. And for the payment process, some of the details are mentioned here, that the company transferred the salary through HSBC Bank. So that's why I created the bank and entered the balance, and July salary paid by using check number this. So now that we have entered the bank and entered the balance, now we can easily transfer the salary. So let's go back to the gateway of Tele. And let's click on vouchers, and under the vouchers I'll click on payment. Now again I'll click on autofill and click on or select payroll autofill, and this will be salary payment, and it is 1st July to 31st July. Voucher date will also be same, and it will be for all items, and ledger it will be coming from salary payable. So that amount we have to pay, and we will be paying by HSBC Bank. Use mode of payment, no. So hit enter and you can see all the details of the salary that need to be paid. So as soon as I press Ctrl A to save this one, it didn't ask for the check number though. So let's go to display more reports, daybook, and this was my entry. If I have pressed enter, enter, and enter, then check details are here, and here I have to mention the check number. So let's copy and paste this check number. So now we have successfully completed the complete payroll process in TelePrime. Now let's check the payroll report. And to check the payroll report from the gateway of Tele, I'll click on display more reports. And from here, I'll click on payroll reports. Now there are a variety of available reports here. You can check any of them. So first of all, let's go in sequence. So first of all, let's check payslip. If I check the payslip of, let's say Sefan, the payslip will automatically be generated as the salary is processed like this: employee number, designation, bank details, and this is the details of the salary. And here is this showing this way. Now to print this report or export this report, we have the options here. If I click on here, export current report, it will be under the XML format. Let's see if I can change the format or not. file format option is here. Let's change it to PDF and click on send. It will be sent in C program files in TelePrime. So send, and you can see that the perfect payslip has been generated. It also shows amount in words and the authorized signatory stamp here. Similarly, if I want to print this directly, I can print current, and here again we have the option to select the printer, or if we don't have the printer, we can check the preview here. It will be printed in the same way as we have seen a similar kind of report in PDF. Exactly the same way it will be printed. Now the second one is pay sheet. For the pay sheet, if we select any particular employee, or let's say a category, under the factory workers we have two employees, and that is Nihar and Sifan. So it will show the breakup in the columns area, like basic salary, dearness allowance, food allowance, and this one. So it will be shown in this way. The benefit of this kind of report is when you have a lot of employees, it can be seen, the details of it can be seen for each employee in a single sheet. Now let's go back, and attendance sheet now. Attendance sheet shows the present days and overtime for each employees. You can see the details here. If you remember that Nihar, we have entered 420 something of minutes. So now it's showing in hours automatically converted. Next one is payment advice. That means if you want to transfer the money through the bank, you need to send the authority letter or payment letter to the bank, and that letter will be automatically generated in Tele. It is this kind of letter that will automatically be generated by Tele. You can also zoom it. So click on it, and to check the preview, you can click on preview, and to zoom, I can click on zoom from here. So you can see this kind of letter that we issued to the bank is automatically generated in Tele through the payment advice. And similarly, if you want to generate the payroll statement, you can check it from here. It will show, if you click on basic salary, it will only extract for that particular element of the payhead which you choose, and it will show the details for all the employees. It can also be used to analyze which employee has been paid more overtime, or let's say more food allowance. So you can compare the allowances if you see the details of all the employees here. So similarly, there are a lot of reports here. For example, attendance register, we have these entries here. Similarly, payroll register, to extract the entries. For example, we have entered this one, so you can reach out to that entry. Employee profiles. This is the employee profiles. It will show up in this way. Employee head counts, newly joined, resigned. When we change the status in the employee details, it will show up the details here. So you can see that very detailed reporting section is here related to payroll. So this is how you can extract different reports of payroll in TelePrime. So that's it. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so that you can get notified of all the future videos. This is Saad signing off from today's video. Take care.